rising team, great rising team. Let me pull up the chat. We good? Yep, I hear myself. Perfect. Great rising Jessica, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's a little early, so we might not really have anybody else. But I had to get this session out of the way because I'm gonna have a pretty busy weekend, man. My car is still fucked up. It might be time. I might have to retire her, man. Kinda sucks. Yeah, Mr. JD, welcome, my brother. Great rising. So we're gonna bang out this session. It'll be pretty quick. Shouldn't be longer than say about like an hour. We'll go over the trades that we took this week. Um, we'll go over the trades that everybody took this week. I believe US30 was one. We'll go over US30 on Friday too, cause on Friday, or was it Thursday? It was one. It was either Thursday or Friday. Let me see. I only have one monitor, guys. Again, so bear with me. Anytime I'm on the charts, I can't see the chat. But if you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'll be going back and forth, so I won't leave you guys hanging. Was it Thursday or Friday with the trade? It was on Thursday. We'll talk about the Thursday trade as well. We missed it, but it's all good. I got scared. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't want to take this trade. I don't feel confident, but it gave us a lot of confirmations. I was we'll talk about it more in depth, but I was, pretty much looking at gold and US30, trying to see the correlations. Um I really didn't like how both of them were kind of moving very similarly. And those are two pairs, again, specifically gold and US30. Those are two pairs that move opposite of each other. Um, so I psyched myself out of the trade on Thursday. Could have been a great trade. It would have been a perfect trade, but it's all good. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about the confirmations. We'll talk about why I didn't pull the trigger on that trade. What else? I think NZD USD was another trade. I believe Kendall took NZD USD. I believe he was on Euro, one of the Euro pairs as well. We'll go over it. I'll look for it, and we'll explain all of those pairs. Obviously we'll go over daily time frame, 4 hour, 30 minute for each time frame, the highs and lows. See if there's any continuations. Um, specifically for the 30 minute and the 4 hour time frame, starting off the new week. So we'll have a little bit to talk about. Shouldn't be a longer session than an hour. I just want to give everybody another, what time is it? 9:05. What do we think? Give everybody another 5 minutes to join, and then we'll get started. Again, any questions, let me know. Any specific pairs you guys want me to go over, let me know. Um, Again, the ones we're going to be going over are the ones you see with the red flag next to their name, starting off with AUD USD, finishing off with US oil. So just let me know if you guys have any questions. We'll give everybody another 5 minutes to join. We'll start at 9:10, and we'll go on from there. I have a few people who want to do one-on-one sessions as well, so I'm gonna hit them up after the session, see if they'll be ready after that. So also, if you guys want to book a one-on-one session, just let me know. Bro, it is cold. What is going on out here? Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back, team. My bad. I got some clothes in the laundry. No questions in the chat so far. No specific pairs. No problem. Again, if we don't really have any questions in the chat, we'll just go through the pairs one by one. And again, we'll be done with the session. Again, no, it shouldn't be longer than an hour, so we'll do what we gotta do. All right, let's get started. Again, any questions, let me know. After pretty much after every pair, after every explanation, we'll take some time. I will look back at the chat. Any questions, again, feel free to just let me know. And we'll go on from there. Damn, bro. Alright, so AUD USD, we know we are still in an overall downtrend. We are looking for our level 3 push back down to the bottom to our previous peak low. Looking at structure, looking at the trend, right? We know we're trading lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. We were in the zone of consolidation for a few months. Then price finally gave us the break of structure that we were looking for, which happened down here, and gave us the lower low point, right? So now we know we're trading lower low, lower high, lower low down here. So all we're looking for is for price to give us a lower high point. Now, up at these lower high points, which is where we were expecting our lower high to be made, we had 2 points of interest. Now we have another point of interest that we'll talk about on the lower time frame, right? But on the daily time frame, we had two things, right? On the daily time frame at these highs, the number one thing we had was a gap that was made in October of 2024 that was finally filled a few days ago. The second thing that we had, a little type 3 pattern. Price consolidated, gave us the break, and gave us a retest 50% of where the consolidation was, right? Right in the middle. As soon as we got that retest, price went up, gave us an exhaustion candle, and went back down. Now on the lower time frames, we're just going to zoom in on the daily time frame just so we can see the structure, and we'll see it a little bit clearer on the lower time frames once we go down to the 4 hour and the 30 minute, right? After price gave us the exhaustion candle in the same place, price gave us a 5-minute gap. Price also is printing a shoulder head shoulder, which we will see on the lower time frame. Right, so right now we have a few confirmations letting us know that this is most likely the highest probable area where price is going to give us this lower high point to then start the downtrend again. Once again, just because we could see a shoulder head shoulder being formed, does this mean that automatically we could get into a trade? No. In order for a shoulder head shoulder to be valid, in order for us to get that confirmation that let us know that price is going to start that downtrend push, is when price gives us a break below the first shoulder that was made. So this is why you guys see that I have this here. Right, I'm waiting for a break of structure below the shoulder. Now, same thing we were explaining and talking about in the beginning of the week, pretty much since this gap has been made. There's a few things that could happen, right? We were saying how price could just continue this uptrend push, right? Go up to the gap, tap into the 4-hour highs, then go down, right? We said that price could give us the shoulder head shoulder, give us an inducement of the low, to then go back up again and fill the gap, right? Or price could be giving us the break, and that gap we'll just have to wait for it, right? This gap, again, same thing that happened in October of 2024. Gaps in the market don't have to be filled right away, right? Some gaps we'll see it, and as soon as they're printed, price could go up and fill it. It could take a few days, it could take a few weeks, it could take a few months, right? All we have to do is just keep an eye on market structure. If we see price giving us inducement to the lows and it starts giving us higher highs and higher lows, then we just have to wait for price to turn around. So at this moment, yes, this gap is very important to keep an eye on. However, we also understand that they could just leave this gap up here. Price could continue these downtrend pushes, and this is a gap that we'll be looking for price to fill once we start the uptrend on AUDUSD. So right now we just have a few things to keep an eye on. Nothing, again, too crazy, but it is a good area to keep an eye on. So on the daily time frame, once we already know, okay, cool, what direction are we in, what is price doing, do we have any continuations, right? Daily time frame, we don't really have anything. Nothing really to talk about besides the fact that we have this exhaustion candle, which is the first confirmation to let us know that price is most likely going to start this downtrend push. On the 4-hour time frame, we're still trading between the previous higher highs and higher lows. So on the 4-hour time frame, we are still on an uptrend. We ended the week on another no net, so we have no continuations, just price moving sideways. And on the 30-minute time frame, we had price give us a change of character to the top side, and price has just been consolidating this week, just moving sideways. We're still trading between these lows on the 30-minute time frame and these highs on the 30-minute time frame. So AU for right now, just gonna keep it easy, right? Waiting for that shoulder head shoulder to be given, waiting for that break. Once we get that break, we'll have a little bit more confirmation as to where price wants to go. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Again, after every pair, I'm gonna be going back and forth from the charts into the chat and vice versa. So any questions, just let me know. Respond to this text real quick. Mr. Adrian, great rising, my brother. We just finished the first pair, AUD USD. Any questions, Adrian? Just let me know. Any specific pairs you want me to go over too? Just let me know, my brother. All right, so AUDCAD, we know that we are still. Oh, let's go to the daily. We're still in the first zone of consolidation, A1, on a downtrend. Price is back at the high of the zone of consolidation, so right now we're getting ready for our safety trade to take price to go back down to the bottom. At the moment, looking at how price is being set up, we had, a zone of consolidation at the bottom. Price gave us the break, gave us a retest, gave us another zone of consolidation, gave us another break above the highs, and again on the lower time frame, what is price doing? Just moving sideways. And we'll see that on the 4-hour and the 30-minute time frame, where price is just moving sideways. We had a week of rise last week. This week, price just moving sideways, so no continuations for right now on the 4-hour time frame. And then on the 30-minute, price is still trading between the previous higher highs and higher lows that we made, which is over here, higher high, higher low, boom, higher high, and price decided to just move sideways. Let's take a look at this gap. Price never filled the gap up. Again, very similar to what we're looking at on AU, right? On ACAD, price gave us a gap on the 15-minute time frame where price still hasn't filled it. This is an area where price is still just rejecting highs and rejecting lows the entire time. So this is another pair where as of right now, and we're super close to this being a no net as well. We're going to mark it as a no net. I'm going to go ahead and delete these drawings, right? But these drawings is exactly what we did on Thursday during the isolation session, talking about the multiple things that could happen in this area, right? Price could either reject these highs and go back down, which is what happened. Price could come up, fill the gap, fill in the 15-minute engulfing, and then go down, or price could just continue these uptrend pushes if we get a break above the zone of consolidation. Price on Friday decided to just give us an inducement. After it gave us the inducement of the high, came back down to the bottom. So again, price is doing exactly what it needs to do. Price will always do exactly what it needs to do. Like I was explaining on Thursday, and I believe we talked about this in the beginning of the week as well, our job as traders is to be able to pinpoint what could happen, right? Figure out what are things that could happen in these areas and keep it simple. Again, a zone of consolidation is an area in the market where the market makers are trapping traders. They're inducing traders, faking you out to get into a trade to then hit your stop losses. Once you realize, alright, we're in a zone of consolidation, your train of thought should be, okay, should we take a trade in this area or should we be patient? And being patient is going to save you a lot of headaches in a zone of consolidation. There's a lot of uncertainty that happens in zones of consolidation, and that happens on purpose. Give me 1 second, sorry guys. Thank you, I'm here since you started. Perfect, okay, cool. Right, so once we realize, alright, we're in a zone of consolidation, keep it easy, that's it, I'm not trading this shit. I already know what we're looking for, right? We're still, yes, overall we're in a downtrend, but right now, 30-minute time frame is telling us we're still in an uptrend. We're still trading higher high, higher low. We're still stuck in the zone of consolidation. We still have a gap at the top of the market. price is still just rejecting highs and rejecting lows, no breaks, is that simple. Same thing we said on Thursday, and I believe we said this on Wednesday or Tuesday as well in one of the last sessions. Keeping it simple. The trend is your friend. Are you in a trend? No. Then stay away from the trade. It's that simple. Once we start trending, once we see that the market is actually moving, instead of just inducing traders, that's when we'll start looking to take those trades. For EA, we know that we are in level 3 on an uptrend. Price gave us the break of the second zone of consolidation and just flew to the top side. We know that we're looking for price to reach our previous peak highs, at least up until these areas up here. And instead of price just giving us a simple higher high, higher low to continue into a higher high, what did price do? It gave us a higher high, gave us a push down to the bottom, right? Which we could say that this is where the higher low was made. And then price just started giving us sideways movement. Again, another zone of consolidation. So at this moment, on the daily time frame, in this daily zone of consolidation, price went back to the low of the zone of consolidation. Where technically speaking, could this be where we would want to start looking for our safety trades to go back to the top side? It could be. But we also understand that we're trading between a very big daily zone, higher high and higher low. So could price just give us a break below the zone of consolidation and give us a steeper pullback, to potentially go into the 4-hour lows, or for price to even go down and fill this gap up on the daily time frame, right? There's a whole bunch of areas here where price could give us a steeper pullback to. But again, it's super simple. Just because price is at the low of the zone of consolidation on the daily time frame doesn't mean that I'm automatically getting into a trade. When we're looking at how price is moving, we could still see lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Where are we right now? We're sitting at a lower low, right? So if price, now we go down to the lower time frame, going into the 4-hour time frame, and then we'll look for the same things on the 30, right? What do we see on the 4-hour? Again, 4-hour time frame, yes, we are still on an uptrend, higher high, higher low into these higher highs. Price came down, gave us a higher low, and then again, stuck in the zone of consolidation. So right now on EA on the 4-hour time frame, yes, we're still on an uptrend. So could price still just be looking for an area to give us that higher low point to then continue into a higher high? Absolutely. We had a week of drop last week. This week price gave us a second week of drop. So again, we're still on a downtrend. EA is still giving us lower lows and lower highs. And on the 30-minute time frame, same exact thing. Right? Price gave us lower low, lower high, all the way down into these lower lows. And once again, what did price do? Gave us a zone of consolidation, just moving sideways. Rejecting highs, rejecting lows, rejecting highs, rejecting lows, rejecting highs, going back down, rejecting highs again. Then price came down and gave us a break of structure of that zone of consolidation. Again, understanding that we are still trading between this lower high and this lower low. Could price go lower than this? Of course, right? Could price tap into the 30-minute lows, give us an inducement, and then go back up? Absolutely. Could price give us a break of these lows and then continue the downtrend push? Absolutely. So right now for EA, right, did we do I don't know if I did a session on Friday. Did we turn the stream on Friday? No, right? I'm trying to remember if it was a one-on-one session or if it was on stream, but I think I probably said this on the stream on what, Thursday or Wednesday, where again, a lot of these pairs for right now, there's a lot of pairs that are moving very similarly. A lot of pairs are just consolidating, or a lot of pairs are just moving counter trend. So right now, nothing on EA, really nothing to update. We don't have any continuations with the trend. Want to go back, see if I missed anything. Right, not really. Daily time frame EMAs are all looking like they want a downtrend. 30-minute as well, looking at the structure. So we just want to be careful when we get back on the charts on Monday. Right, we don't want to force any trades. Trade what we see. Wait for our rules to be developed, and then start taking a trade. Again, any questions so far, let me know, guys. Not yesterday, yeah, yesterday I definitely didn't do a session, right? So it was on, or I didn't do the live session. I'm just trying to remember if I talked about this on the last session that we did, or if I just spoke about it in the one-on-one. My days have been my days have been all mixed up, man. Thursday night session, that's what I thought. Like after yesterday, it was like 10 in the morning, and then I'm like, yo, it's Friday already. I feel like this week went by super quick. Right, so ECAD, once again, guys, any questions, just let me know in the chat. Anything you want me to explain again, any specific pairs you guys want me to go over, um, anything that we talked about throughout the week that you guys want me to talk about again or explain again, just let me know. I'll be going back and forth from the chart to the chat, so feel free to just let me know what questions you guys have. ECAD, we're in previous peak highs, right? This is still a pair that we could start looking for price to go higher, but again, the way I'm trading ECAD, the way we have it marked up, we're already in previous peak highs. At this point, whenever price is already above or made new highs from the previous trend, this is where I stop trading it. This is where I'll start looking for the downtrends to start happening, right? I'll look for the double tops at the highs. Sometimes you'll get a double top, sometimes you'll get a shoulder head shoulder, sometimes you'll just get a zone of consolidation. Regardless, what I want to see on ECAD first before I start trading is that level 1 push to the bottom. Once we make that level 1 push to the bottom, and once we get that first zone of consolidation, after the first zone of consolidation, that's when I'll start looking to take trades again on ECAD to go back down to the bottom. However, if ECAD decides to respect the daily structure, which we're still trading higher high, higher low, right, between these higher highs up here and these higher lows, if price decides to give us a higher low point to then continue up to the higher highs, that's when I'll start trading again, going back to the top side. If we have any continuations, 2 months of rise going into a third month, that's when I'll start looking to take a trade. On the 4-hour time frame, right now on the daily, there's really nothing to talk about. We have a month that dropped last month. Obviously, this month hasn't ended yet, so we don't have anything to update. We have pretty much no engulfing candles. We don't really have any exhaustion candles either. On the 4-hour time frame, once again, price at this point is still making lower low, lower high, lower low. It gave us a change of character. It gave us the break of structure. After it gave us the break of structure lower low on the 800 EMA, where again we know this is an area, the 800 EMA, price respects the 800 EMA. And we can see what price is doing. We're just in a zone of consolidation on the 4-hour time frame, where price is rejecting lows, rejecting highs, rejecting lows, rejecting highs, and looks like price wants to go back down to the lows. And that's okay. The market is going to tell us exactly what it needs to do, right? We know we're in a zone of consolidation, so we already know how we have to attack this. We're either going to be looking for price to give us a rejection of the low again to go back high, or give us a break of the highs to go back to the top side, or vice versa. We're going to be looking for a break of the low to then continue these downtrend pushes, or we're going to be looking for a rejection of the highs once again to go back down to the bottom. Anything that's in the middle between the zone of consolidation, I'm not trading it. I'm not even going to keep an eye on it. There's nothing here for me that makes it comfortable to trade. Right, again, a zone of consolidation is an area where the market makers are trapping traders. Once you understand that, once you already understand the reasons why that happens, it makes trading so much easier. You already know there's a 90% chance you're not going to be trading this pair. And again, goes back to what we were talking about pretty much this entire week. You'll see everybody online, only look at one pair, keep an eye on one pair, you don't need to look at 20 pairs. My opinion, they're wrong. Because again, if you're trading one pair, if you're trading a pair like EUROCAD and you're stuck in a zone of consolidation, what are you going to trade? Right? You're going to be trading your emotions. Oh, I haven't traded in 2 days, I have to take a trade. Price hasn't given us a move, I need to take a trade. Right? We'll use an example, right? EUROCAD. We'll use an example like with gold. Right? Gold has been stuck in a zone of consolidation all week. We've been talking about gold all week this week, and we've shown you guys the examples, and we showed you guys, why it is that I'm not taking trades in these areas, right? How many confirmations did we have on gold since the beginning of the week? How many confirmations, fake confirmations, engulfing candles, double bottoms, double tops, right? How many of those confirmations did we see in the zone of consolidation where price just went straight to stop loss every single time? Just faking traders out the entire time, right? So when you're looking at a pair like this that's in a zone of consolidation, where we could see that it's just trapping traders all day, every single day in this area, why would we force ourselves to get into a trade knowing that this is where we're just going to get faked out every single time? We believe price is going to go higher, stops, rejects highs, goes back down to the bottom of the zone of consolidation. Right? All the people who don't understand what zones of consolidations are, how they look, and how to trade them, how many of them took trades going short when price were at these lows, right? They got induced and price went right back to the highs. Happens all the time with every single pair. So again, that's the reason why I'm not married to one pair. That's the reason why I'm not looking at just one pair. Because there's going to be times where that one pair you're looking at is just not ready to be traded. You can't trade it yet. There's nothing there. There's nothing going on. So what do you have to do? Go down the list and go find another pair, right? Already off the bat, starting off the week, the first 4 pairs that we keep an eye on, AU, ACAD, EA, ECAD, none of them have anything that's crystal clear. None of them are trading in the direction. Some of them are stuck in zones of consolidation. Right, some of them are trapped or left in their respected highs or respected lows. So it's easier to trade that way because you already understand, okay, yes, I'm looking at 16 pairs. I'm looking at 20 pairs. But out of the 16 pairs, 12 of them are consolidating or 12 of them are moving counter trend. All right, cool. You still have 4 other pairs to keep an eye on. You'll find that pair that's trending. You'll find that pair that's ready to be traded. And that's how you'll start making your money. Right? So I hope that makes sense, guys. No questions in the chat so far? Alright, perfect. Euro USD, we know that this pair and GU are very similar in what they're doing. We know we're still on an uptrend. We're in level 2 on an uptrend, right? We had push number 1, level 1, first zone of consolidation on an uptrend, which is V1. We had the break of structure to the highs, gave us a higher high, higher low, and then continued that uptrend into the higher high. And again, what is price doing at these higher highs? Instead of giving us a simple higher high, higher low to continue into the higher highs, price decided to just give us another zone consolidation. For EU specifically here, we know that we had 2 months of rise. Could we be looking for that 3rd month push to the top side? Again, we talked about this in the beginning of the month in the session that we did when we had updated our daily highs, or the last weekly market breakdown, right? I believe it was. Is this a high probable area where we're going to be looking for that 3rd push to the top side? And once again, it's not. Why? Because we're back at the highs of the zone of consolidation, where price has been rejecting these highs and price has been rejecting these lows. So already the understanding that yes, even though we have a continuation trend, even though we have 2 months of rise, are we expecting that 3rd month push? No. Why? Because we're in a zone of consolidation. We're back at the highs of the zone of consolidation. Price gave us a rejection of these highs, And then as soon as the week started, what did price do? Or as soon as the month started, sorry. What did price do? Straight down to the bottom. On the 4-hour time frame, we had 2 weeks of drop. This week being the third week, price went back down to the low. Structure on the 4-hour, we're still trading between the same higher high, higher low, and then higher highs at these highs over here. But again, even though we see the uptrend, what did price do after the higher high was made? Just moving sideways. Rejecting lows, rejecting highs, price is coming back down to the lows. 30-minute time frame, we'll have a little bit more data to play with. We know that on the 30-minute, we're still trading lower low, lower high, lower low. Price came up on Friday, gave us a little lower high point. Price came back down and gave us an inducement of the low. So at this point as well, I'm not going to be marking this as lower low, lower high, lower low just yet. This is either going to be where price is going to give us a rejection of the lows to go back up to the top side, or this is where we'll be looking for price to give us a valid break of these lows. That was a horrible line. Try this again. That was a little bit better. There you go. We're either going to be looking for price to give us the rejection of these lows and then start giving us those internal 5-minute, 1-minute time frame higher highs and higher lows to go back to the top side, or we'll just have to wait for a valid break to be given on the 30-minute lows for price to let us know where it wants to go. So EU is another pair right now. We have 2 days of drop. We're still on a downtrend. This is a pair that overall we're in an uptrend. We're still making lower lows and lower highs. There's nothing to trade right now. Just got to be patient. EU is going to be a pair where this week we'll have to keep a very close eye on it. If we get the rejection of these lows and we start seeing higher highs and higher lows, then again, that's when we're going to start looking to take those trades again, at least to get a push to the top side. But if price gives us a valid break of these lows, we'll just have to let price do what it has to do, continue to give us the pullback, and we'll be trading EU again once we start making those uptrend pushes back to the top side. For GA, this is a pair that's in peak high territory, so this one we're just going to keep this updated. Again, going to treat this one the same way we treated ECAD. Peak high territory, peak low territory, nothing to talk about. We had a week of drop, we're back at the 4-hour lows. Price gave us another inducement of the 4-hour lows, and we are very close. We're what, 12 pips, 13 pips from this being a no net. We'll update this when the market's open on Sunday night to see if it's going to give us a no net or if it's just going to give us a drop. So we'll keep this one like this for now. And on the 30-minute time frame, we're still making lower lows and lower highs. Oh man. Still making lower lows and lower highs. And we finished the week on a day of rise. And again, the entire week we were in a zone of consolidation where price has been rejecting highs and rejecting lows. Price came back to the highs, never gave us a clean break, right? It was just consolidating up here, no valid break above these highs. Gave us an inducement once again at the beginning of the session on Thursday, and then flew down to the bottom. Gave us a break of the zone of consolidation, gave us a little retest, and this is where a lot of traders would be taking these positions up here thinking, oh, this is a break and retest of the zone of consolidation to go back down to the bottom. So we'll be careful with GA. Again, we're in peak high territory, so that's going to be a pair for me. I'm not going to be trading it until we start seeing the trend. It sucks only having one monitor, man, I'm not going to lie. Having to go back and forth. One second, let me take a sip of water. GCAD, we are in level 3 on an uptrend, right? We have level 1, first zone consolidation, level 2, second zone consolidation, and then level 3 to the top side. In level 3, again, instead of giving us a simple, just clean structure, higher high and higher low, and this one, again, I'll explain it again the same way we did in the beginning of the week. Even though we could see that we're pretty much stuck in a zone of consolidation, what I do like about GCAD is that technically speaking, right, we still have higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. In this higher low, price gave us an internal zone of consolidation, where price now again is just sitting at the highs. Has it given us a clean break? Let's take a look. Go down into the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we can see that zone of consolidation a little bit clearer. We were looking for a valid break of these highs. Did price give us a valid break? Yes. So now on the 4-hour time frame, we know that we're trading higher high, higher low, right? The internal structure on the 4-hour time frame. Higher low, higher high. Price also gave us a little shoulder head shoulder, where again, what are we looking for? We're looking for a valid break of these lows to tell us, okay, is this where price is going to give us a steeper higher low point, or is this where price is going to give us the inducement, just a zone of consolidation, gave us a higher high, and we're just looking for a simple higher low point somewhere in these areas to then continue back up into a higher high. Again, this candle over 20 pips will mark it as a weaker drop, so we have no continuations on the 4-hour time frame. And then on the 30-minute, again, our zones are pretty big on every time frame here. Right, once price gave us, let's take a step back here so we're not confused at what we're looking for or what we're looking at. Right, price gave us these highs, these lows, these highs, and this is where price gave us a change of character all the way down to the bottom. So we're trading between these 30-minute lows, where again we can see that price has just been consolidating the entire time, just moving sideways, rejecting lows, moving sideways, rejecting highs, going back to the lows, moving sideways. The entire time for just 2-3 weeks, went back to the highs, rejected the highs for a little bit, pushed up to the top, right? And again, this is where we can see again, what is price doing? Moving sideways. So what am I looking for now? We know that this is again a 4-hour time frame, shoulder head shoulder, which we could see on the 30-minute too, so we could go ahead and mark this up on the 30-minute time frame too, but the 4-hour is really where we want to see price give us that valid break. Right, so on the 30-minute time frame, in this case, it'll be the lower time frames, the 5-minute, the 1-minute. If we start seeing price, we already know it gave us the inducement of the low. What am I looking for on the lower time frames? I'm looking for price to start giving me higher highs and higher lows. Once we get the change of character, once we get the break of structure, that's when I'll start looking to take these trades again to go back to the top side. But as of right now, this is a pair where we'll have to keep a very close eye on, and wait for the confirmations to be given. So GCAD is definitely going to be one on my watch list for this week. We'll just have to be patient, wait it out, and continue to do the same thing. GJ is very similar to GA. We're in peak high territory. We're in the highest point in the market. Price is still giving us higher highs and higher lows, so this is going to be a pair again. I'll keep it updated, but it's not going to be one that I'm going to be trading. 13 pips, very close to being a no net, so this is going to be another one where, you know, could we mark it as a drop for now? We can, but this is most likely going to be a no net once the market's open. So we'll update this 4-hour when the market's open on Sunday. We had 2 days of drop. Price gave us a 3rd day low. Finish on a 3rd day low. After 3 days of drop, the market must move sideways or go up. 30-minute time frame, we're still trading higher high, higher low, and higher high. So technically speaking, on the 30-minute time frame too, we're still on an uptrend. So the fact that we're still on an uptrend, gonna keep it simple. We'll wait it out. Price is also reaching the 800 EMA. We know price respects the 800 EMA. Lower time frames, we could still see price giving us lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and prices reaching our previous lower lows as well. So this is going to be a pair where, to start off the week, we definitely want to keep an eye on GJ specifically. You know, we'll be going down into the 5-minute or the 1-minute time frame. In this case, we could do it on the 5-minute, right, where price gave us now this lower low down here and these lower highs up here. So if price decides to come back down to these lows and give us an inducement of the low, and then we start making higher highs and higher lows, we know we could go back to the top side on GJ, right? Or this is where we're going to start seeing price continue the trend, right? We'll see another lower low being made, we'll see another lower high, and we're just going to continue to see price respect the trend that we currently have, right? And just continue to make lower lows and lower highs. So GJ is another one. No continuations for now. But again, we're in peak high territory, so we'll keep a very close eye on GJ and what it wants to do. What we were saying earlier about EU and GU, again, these are two pairs that we're pretty much trading in the same area. We are in level 2 on an uptrend. We had level 1 for zone of consolidation. We had the break of structure of the zone of consolidation, higher high, higher low, and then price came up and gave us a higher high. And again, very similar to the other pairs that we've seen as well. Instead of just giving us a simple higher high, higher low to continue into a higher high, what is price currently technically doing? In a zone of consolidation, where price has rejected lows, rejected highs, rejected lows, rejected highs, rejected lows, and price is coming back to the top. We have 2 months of rise, this month being the 3rd month. As soon as the markets open, it gave us that 3rd push to the top side, and then price started giving us a little downtrend push to the bottom. We'll see if we have any continuations on the 4-hour time frame. We had a weaker drop, and then price gave us a no net, and then price gave us, again, very, very close, 10 pips from this being a no net as well. It's either going to be a drop or a no net. We're going to, again, this is going to be another pair where I'll wait for the markets to open for the week, and then we'll update the 4-hour time frame. But we have no continuations on the 4-hour time frame. And on the 30-minute time frame, again, price is just still making lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, and gave us another lower low point. Still hasn't given us a valid break. We wanted to see a candle closure below this red candle's wick, and we could see that price never gave us that break. No candle has closed below the wick. So this is still an inducement. So the fact that we're still sitting at these lows, price is still inducing these lows, all good. On the lower time frame, what is price doing? Just giving us a zone of consolidation. So they're keeping it simple for us. We're either going to look for an inducement of this low, and then price is going to start giving us those higher highs and higher lows, making it easier for us to capitalize on being able to catch the pullbacks back to the top side. Or price is just going to continue these downtrend pushes, give us the valid break that we're looking for. Once we get that new break, we already know it's a lower low point. We're looking for a lower high for price to then continue down into the lower low. So these 30-minute lows, I'm not going to update them just yet. We're going to wait it out to see if price wants to give us the inducement to then continue back up, or we'll wait for price to give us the break below this area to then continue those downtrend pushes back down to the bottom. Any questions so far? Let me know, guys. Again, any questions, any specific pairs you guys want me to go over, let me know. We're pretty much almost done. Again, the only pairs I have, I believe NU was another pair that, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kendall was looking for entries on NU. I believe it was on Thursday. Oh man, that was a good stretch. But it was like I think I explained this on the stream as well, if I'm not mistaken, for Thursday. But it's the same thing I told them, and the same thing that we've been talking about, right? And I believe the NU trade was very similar to, yeah, it was because of that 30-minute engulfing. Very similar to what happened on gold, right? Very similar to what happened on US30, where again we'll have those entry confirmations in the zone of consolidation, right? However, very similar to any entry model that you learn, right? Whether it's fair value gaps, order blocks, simple candlestick patterns like the double tops and the double bottoms, or engulfing candles, right? Or whether you're looking at different patterns like the flag post patterns or the harmonic patterns, whatever your entry model is, your entry model is always going to be given on the charts, right? How many double bottoms and double tops and engulfing candles and order blocks and fair value gaps, how many of them do you guys see being printed every single day, right? At any given moment, you will see that happening, right? So again, your job as a trader is not only to find those entry models, but once you find those entry models, your job is to ask yourself, is this a high probability trade or is it a low probability trade? Right? Because if market structure is making lower lows and lower highs, and the market prints a double bottom, which is a W, which is an uptrend, right? What is the probability of that double bottom working out when market structure is still on a downtrend? Or vice versa. If price is making higher highs and higher lows, right? If the trend is in an uptrend and price prints a double top, which is an M formation, which is a downtrend, right? What's the probability of that double top being the right trade to catch? And that's what a lot of people, right? Again, a whole bunch of people online are not going to tell you this, right? They're going to tell you that this is a game of probabilities and you just gotta, in order for you to lose less, you just have to trade less. And again, we spoke about this the other day. That's the mentality of gamblers, right? When you're at a casino and you start getting on a losing streak, right? You put a limit to, okay, how much am I willing to lose now? I'm on a 5 losing streak, right? I have to decrease the risk. Or okay, instead of playing 5 hands in a row, I'm only gonna play 2 to 3 hands in a row. It's the same way that people kind of explain what trading is. A lot of people are going to tell you, oh, stop over trading, right? They're going to tell you, oh, it's your psychology. Which, again, is there some truth to that? Absolutely. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get better at trading if you just continue to, hashtag set and forget. Hashtag close your computer, your laptop screen, turn off your computer once you get into a trade and just let price do what it has to do. No. Right? Whenever you take a trade, you have to sit there and start taking notes. What did you do right? What did you do wrong? What could you do better for the next time? Because again, even though that NU trade technically worked out on Thursday, it gave you a retest of the engulfing candle at the highs and it went straight to profit down to the bottom. Cool. Even though this trade worked out today, how many times this week? And again, there's been what, like 3 or 4 different pairs. And you can see that a lot of these pairs are reacting the same way. A lot of these pairs have been consolidating, right? How many times this week did we see price give us an engulfing candle entry and went straight to stop loss in a zone of consolidation? Right? How many times did we see price tap into the engulfing candle, hit stop loss, and then go into the direction that we wanted to see price go into? That happened a lot of times this week, right? So just if you go and you backtest, again, this is how I used to backtest, and this is how I figured out what high probability trades and low probability trades were, right? Whenever I go and I backtest, I'm like, okay, cool. Once I figured out these are the pairs that are in a zone of consolidation. In the zone of consolidation, out of the 10 pairs that were consolidating, we had 7 pairs that gave us an entry, right? It showed us an entry model. Out of those 7 pairs, 5 of them went straight to stop loss, and 2 of them went straight to TP. What was the difference? There was no difference. In a zone of consolidation, we know that that's how the zones of consolidations work. Right? In a zone of consolidation, there's no certainty as to where price could go and how it could move. Once I realized that, again, this was part of my back testing anytime I was testing anything, whether it was 372s, whether it was bounces off the EMAs. Once I figured out what the engulfing candles were, did the same thing with the engulfing candles, right? Once I figured out, okay, cool. We know that price could go straight to profit. We know that that's something that could happen. However, am I willing to take a risk, right? Am I willing to take this trade that I know has a 50% chance of winning and a 50% chance of losing? Am I willing to take this trade in this area? Or am I willing to just let price do what it has to do, right? Am I okay with missing this trade in order for price to give me the valid confirmation, which is going to be a break below these lows down here, to then start looking for trades once we get the break? Or am I willing to take this 50% chance, trade and just seeing what it does, right? With my philosophy of trading, I would rather wait. This is a position that I would not take. I would wait for price to do what it has to do. In this case, price came back to the lows. It gave us another rejection of the lows and then flew back to the top side and then gave us a break of the highs, right? So again, does it make trading a lot more boring? Absolutely. But what has this been able to do for me? Exactly what it did in 2025. Again, I took 56 trades in 2025. For a lot of people, they'll be like, yo, that's not enough trades. For you, maybe. Right? For somebody who has a $100 account, you know, depends on you know, with a $100 account, you took 50 trades. I mean, again, you guys could go do the math on your own time. You know, my trading journal is posted. You guys have the link. You know, go look at the risk to reward on the trades. Right? So what that does is start seeing how much money you would have made on a $100 account, taking 1 to 10 trades, just to put it out. Well, can't even say that because the beginning of the year, well, we started off with GU if I'm not mistaken, and then it was like a month, 2 months where I was going on a crazy tear on US30 and gold, right? Where again we know that a lot of brokers don't allow you to even trade US30 or gold if you don't have more than 150, 200 USD on your account. So for example purposes, you know, let's say you started an account with 200 bucks, right? By the end of March, going into April, May, you know, just with the trades that we took in the beginning of the year, the first 7, 8 trades that we took in the beginning of the year, where would your account balance have been at? And those were big trades, right? I started off the year with US30 and gold taking 1 to 15s, 1 to 20s. Crazy. Same thing that pretty much happened on Thursday with the last US30 trade, right? Tuesday, or I believe Monday, we took a 1 to 12, and then on Thursday there was a there was that other US30 trade, which was what, another 1 to 10, 1 to 15. What could have been? Let's see. Let's just do the math real quick. Right? So the one on Tuesday was a 1 to 10. Right? Nice little 10% on the account. And then on Thursday, which was the change of character, break of structure after the inducement of the low, after a type 3 pattern was given. Like, there were so many confirmations here, man. 1 minute entry on fucking US30. You can't ask for a better trade than this. You really can't. Right, we're talking about a 12, 13 pip stop loss with a, let's go to the 30 now. You know, TP was STP, which was these highs over here, right? A 1 to 15. So in 2 days, you just made 25% of your account. Just put it in simple terms. So again, when it comes to taking high probable trades, I will always bank on taking the high probable trades. I'm okay with taking 50 trades a year. I'm okay with taking 60 trades a year. I'm okay with taking 20 trades a year if that's what's given. But every time I step up onto the charts, anytime I'm entering a trade, again, in my trading journal, in my notebook that I have in front of me every single day, The one question that's on the top of the page. Every new page I make, I write down the question. Did I follow my rules when I entered the trade? That's the question I ask myself. Why? Because that question will allow me to not take any bullshit trades. Right? Same thing that happened with the one loss last year, which was, again, GCAD. The trade that I took, did it follow all of my rules? No. There was a few rules missing on that GCAD trade. But I said, you know what? We're on a 20 win streak. I could, stop loss was like 4 pips or something like that. I could risk it. Fuck it. And I was in profit. And I was like, yo, instead of cashing out at these highs where we see prices rejecting the highs, let's go find it. And people, like, I'm able to tell you this, and I'm able to really be like, remember what pair it was and everything, because that shit really hurt. I didn't want to lose, man. That was, my goal for the year was to not lose. And I took a bullshit trade. See if I can find it. It was somewhere at the highs of the zone of consolidation. I don't remember what month it was. Here, right? It was this one, right? I already knew we're at the top of the zone of consolidation again. And I was like, yo, you know what? This looks like a beautiful type 1 pattern. Zone of consolidation, double bottom. Right after the break, we had a change of character, break of structure. It has to go higher. Right? Understanding that, okay, on the 30-minute it looks good, but this wasn't a 30-minute zone of consolidation. This was a 4-hour daily time frame zone of consolidation. Price rejected the highs. Why would I take a trade? Right? And again, it wasn't nothing too crazy. It was a 3 pip stop loss. It was a higher stop loss. It would have been, let's see if I could mix it right. It would have been a 10 pip stop loss, but once I was in profit, I put my stop loss a little bit closer, so it wasn't a big hit. Right? But a 3 pip stop loss when you're trading with a $5, $10 lot size, it's a big amount. Right? But this is a trade where, again, at the end of the day, when I wrote this down in my trading journal, did I follow my rules? No. So I already know. I know why I lost this trade. It wasn't because, oh, the probabilities, and it's because that's just what trading is. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. No. That's not how it works. In trading, you're going to lose trades when you don't know what you're looking at. In trading, you're going to lose trades when you make a mistake. And that's okay. We're humans. Right? We're not robots. We're going to make mistakes in trading. Whether we like it or not, you're going to make some mistakes. But once you understand and you realize what your mistakes are, it's up to you now to either continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again, or you're going to be able to sit with yourself and be like, you know what? Even though this looks good, I know that I'm in a zone of consolidation. I know that I'm in an area where market makers are just inducing traders, right? I know that I'm in an inducement zone. Price just gave us a rejection of the high. Why would I continue to look for buy positions when the market makers already told us and they showed us that we have a rejection of the highs? Right? So again, for me, taking trades is very simple. For a lot of people, and I've seen it a lot this year, and a lot of people have come into the chat like, yo, I don't get how you could just go a week without trading, 2 weeks without trading. It's like, it's very simple. The trades that we took, or the trades that we're looking for, are they following our rules? If they're following our rules, then take the trade. If they're not following our rules, if they're not doing what they need to be doing, then stay away. It's that simple. Right? It is that simple for me. So again, NZD USD right now, I'm gonna wait it out for NU. Go on to the next one with US30. Again, guys, any questions about what I just talked about? Anything at all, let me know. Adrian, JD, Jessica, if you guys are still in here. Any questions, let me know. Again, we're pretty much almost done. The last pair, USDCAD, USDZAR, we'll update them because I haven't, yeah, we'll update them. It's been a minute that I haven't updated those charts, but I'm not going to be trading them. Gold is another pair that we saw earlier. Is just stuck in a zone of consolidation, so we'll update it. And then Bitcoin and oil, those are also two pairs that I'm not trading. So pretty much US30 is the last pair that we have on our list. So we'll take some more. We'll take another minute here in the chat, or I'll give you guys 30 seconds in the chat. Any questions? Anything you guys want me to explain? Anything you want me to go over? Let me know. Yes, Lewis, all good. All right, perfect. Again, guys, use this time wisely, man. This is what we're here for. We do these sessions for you guys. Any questions, anything at all that you guys want to go over, use this time wisely. Again, a question that you probably have is a question that somebody else probably has and they're just too nervous and too scared to ask. So all the questions help not only yourself, but they help everyone else that's watching or that's on the sessions. You guys are good in the chat, alright. Seems like it might just be me and you, Adrian. This is a little one-on-one session with you, man. Surprised Kendall isn't here yet, but I know he's in New York. He took the weekend to go on a little trip with his brother. So I'm sure he's enjoying his time over there. Cold as fuck over there too, man. Here's been raining since yesterday. I think last time it rained here was, what day is today? Saturday? I think it rained here Thursday or probably Wednesday, Thursday morning or Wednesday night, something like that. And then these last 2 days it's been, today is a little cloudy. I haven't been outside, but it is cold as shit in my house, so I'm assuming it's still cold out. It's supposed to get really cold this week here. Yesterday was really cold in the morning. But I think at the end of the week maybe is when it said it was gonna rain, something like that. But we're already getting into the season where some days are gonna be cold as hell, some other days are gonna be super hot, some other days it's just gonna be raining. That only happens in South Florida though. In Orlando yesterday, my brother's car, he sent me a video. It was like 20, 28 degrees in the morning, 20, 29, something like that. They woke up with ice all over their cars. I've yet to experience that, and of course, the time that I could experience it, I'm stuck in Miami, bro. I can't fucking believe it, man. Can't believe it. But it's crazy how the world works, man. I will say that. I will say it's crazy how this is what I needed. Cause I don't, I said it a lot when I was over there in Orlando, especially like November, December. I was like, yeah, I really want to go to Miami again. I had like a little gut feeling. I'm like, I gotta be in Miami. I gotta take care of some things. And I feel like all of this happened at the right time. Literally, like, yeah, I was like, yo, I'm leaving my house on the 2nd. I'm going back home on the 2nd. And fucking the day right before I was leaving, that's when all this shit started happening. So, the first couple days I was pissed off, but obviously pissed off, that's just, it's gonna be that way. But I needed this is the time that I needed off. I've said this for a lot of weeks, a lot of months last year. I just need a couple days. I just need some time off, right? Like trading is always something I'm gonna be doing, so I'll never really have time off from trading, but like being away, not having the regular just schedule that I have every single day, like it's allowed me to decompress, kind of go back into reality. Cause yo, when I'm home, like dude, all I do is work, right? Like I wake up and I'm instantly, as soon as I wake up, first thing I do, boom, I'm on the charts. I'm doing the sessions. I'm doing one-on-one sessions. I'm trading. I'm fucking doing a million other things, right? Until 9 p.m., 10 p.m., and that's when I go to sleep, and then I repeat again. Like it's every day is just constant, constant, constant. Since I've been here, I've been, I still keep my same schedule, same sleep schedule. I'll try to go to sleep around the same time. I've been hanging out with some friends and shit like that too down here, so I have more often than not I'll be going to sleep at 2, 3 in the morning, but I'll still wake up at 6, 6:30, keeping the same sleep schedule. But I'm not constantly just working all day. I take time for myself and hang out with people and family members and all that. So it's been good. It's been a good. It's about to be a month. I got here what on the 23rd of December, so it's been a good month. So yeah, hopefully I could get the car fixed, man. But I don't know. I'm starting to think that I'm more likely I'm gonna have to get a new car, bro. This shit's probably fucked. I don't think I could I don't think this is a situation that could get fixed, unfortunately. A good month with family, yeah, it's been really good. Reconnecting with friends too. That's another thing. Like, yo, when I'm in Orlando, I'm not talking to nobody. Like, I'm not talking to none of my friends, and it's not because I don't want to speak to them. I don't really have the time like that, man. So it's been good to see everybody and reconnect with everybody and shit. The computer of the car, yeah, that's most likely what it is. But I've done a lot of research on a lot of people that this happened to, because again, this is a common thing that happens with the model of the car that I have. Um, a lot of people have said that yeah, they've tried to fix it and they tried to, they'll take it to Kia, they'll take it to their place. They'll run the diagnostics, they try to fix it, they say that it's fixed, and then it just keeps happening. So my car might be fried, man. And I've spent so much cash on this already. It's to the point where it's like at this point I would have just used the money that I spent on the repairs. Could have just used that on a down payment on a new car. So, you know, it's life. That's what happens. Again, the first few days I was a little pissed and stressed out. I'm still a little stressed out about the situation, but I know that it'll work out. Whatever it is that ends up happening is just that's the thing with problems that you have, right? Every problem you have in your life, there's always a solution. There's always going to be time for that solution to be made. It might not be exactly what we want, but I'd be pissed too for sure. You know. Again, that's a conversation I had a few days ago with one of my friends. I was like, yo, the craziest thing was I had made it a thing. All of last year, I'm like, maybe I want to go back to Miami, or at least I'll have a spot in Miami, and then, I'll have my spot in Miami and Orlando, and I'll come back down here, and, whenever I need to decompress, whenever I want to come back and hang out with everybody, I'll come here to Miami, and then, I'll just have my spot here, I'll have my spot over there. So it's just crazy how the world works. Like this had to have happened. You know, life couldn't give it to me simple. Like, it couldn't be like, yeah, just stay down here, just be normal. Nah, they were like, yo, we'll make your ass stay down here forcefully. You got no other fucking choice, brother. Like, all right. So, you know how it is. That's something that I've always laughed at. You say you want to do things, you try to manifest things, and you have these goals and plans on how you want it to work out. And life is just laughing at you. Like, nah, we'll let you have what you want. You'll get what you want for sure. But how you get it and how you get to that is going to be completely different than how you thought it was going to happen. You thought this was going to be simple, huh? Nope. Life has a way of throwing rocks at you, so that's something that I've always had to deal with that for some reason. which is funny as fuck to think about, but that's why I always say you get into these moments in life where shit gets very dark, very stressful, but at the end of the day, all you gotta do is just keep moving forward. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. It's just about how you go about things. It's your mentality when you go through things. Life's a bitch, they say. Life is a bitch. Nah, it is true. Like, I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna pour out all the shit that I've gone through in the last. We're in 2026, right? We're not gonna, we're not gonna talk about how the last 7 years of my life has gone. There's been a lot of crazy ways that life has kind of directed me and redirected me into certain things. And every single time I'm like, I want to do something, and I always have a plan, right? That's the thing about me. I always have plans, I always have goals, and there's always ways I want to do things. And I would say 90% of the time, yes, I've been able to accomplish the shit that I want to accomplish, but how I accomplish it is completely different than how I would is completely different than how I would have wanted to accomplish it. Didn't even know you was doing the session, yo, because you're not locked in. Like you just texted me, lock in, like lock the fuck in, man. And it's like you're the one that's gotta lock in, bro. I've been in here for an hour and a half, and we're almost done. I'm pretty much only missing one other pair. You not locked in, bro. You're not. I thought you would be more locked in now that you were able to grab the bull's balls, man. The Wall Street bull. Eat meat. All right. All right. But yeah, man, it is crazy how life puts you in different situations. And again, that's a good thing about me is that even though I'm in a shitty situation, I see the positives that come from it. You say I am the bull. All right, bro. Anytime I'm in these low points, people will say they're low points in life. I kind of the way I grab myself out of it to not fall into some crazy depression is just look at the positives, right? The positives is that I'm here with the family. They got things going on that I'm glad I'm here for. I got friends that are going through some crazy shit that I'm able to be here for and, help them out. Reconnect with people that I haven't spoken to in fucking years. So again, the positives that come out of this, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm happy this is how it happened, because I'm not fucking happy about it, but I'm happy with the outcomes that have been given to me this time around. So, you know, can't do anything about it. That's all you can see is the positive out of situations. Either go, everything you're going through right now is little shit to build you into your highest version of you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's the way you go about life, man. You can't, there's always gonna be bad shit that's gonna happen. And you might have a few years. Like again, I had a great run of just good luck and a great run of shit going my way. But again, even though on some days, specifically how this year started, you know, even though things aren't going my way per se, quote unquote, because things are still going really well, because I'm still breathing. I could still wake up. I still sleep. I could still got food on the table. I still got shelter, right? I'm still able to work and do what I gotta do. So again, realistically speaking, life hasn't changed in the things that I need to do. There's just more stress that comes with it. So it's all good, bro. It's just you just gotta think of the positives out of every situation that you're in. And again, I am a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. Um, and again, the situation with my car, again, everything happens for a reason, right? Everything happens at the right time, exactly when it needs to happen. Because who knows, right? Maybe that little bad luck, if you want to call it that, right? It could have happened while I was driving the car. Or it could have, the situation could be a lot worse. So if life wants to hit me and just hit my car and it take it out on my car, cool. I'll let life do that. It could have been way worse. I could have woken up in the middle of the night and heard them. Then that would have been another situation. Those motherfuckers would have been blasted. See what I mean? So, and again, it's crazy. Like the one night that I fell asleep and I slept all night. That's another thing. Like that's something that I've been thinking about every day too. I'm not usually somebody that sleeps all night. I'm usually up at 2, 3 in the morning. I usually wake up. Like, you know what I mean? The fact that on the 31st was the first night where I fell asleep at 10 and I woke up at 5:30. No shit that that's the night that motherfuckers wanted to break into my car. Like, no shit. And again, I parked my car right next to my window. So I would have heard it. I would have seen it. I would have something would have happened that night if I would have been awake like I usually am. So it's crazy how shit like that happens. Like, again, everything happens for a reason in this life. Everything does. I'm a firm believer of that, and I've been saying that for years since I was in high school. I've noticed that very, very early on in my life. Everything happens for a reason. Again, even with the conversation we had on Wednesday or Tuesday, whatever day it was that I saved some dude's life. Like, yo, what are the odds that I'm driving? And I literally told myself, yo, I'm going to go through this back alleyway. Because it's been so long that I haven't driven by here. I'm just going to go in, I'm going to make a random turn. And I turn into the back part of the building and some dude is just choking and dying on the floor. Like, if I wouldn't have been there the right time at the right moment, if I would have just said, fuck it, I'm going to keep going straight, I would have never seen that. That dude would have been dead. A guy would have died. That's like, again, everything in life, every decision you make, it happens. Right time, right place, right time. Everything happens for a fucking reason, dude. So, it's, again, that's why I don't really get upset about things. Like, I really don't. There's no point. All right, so let's keep going. Again, last pair for the night for the day pretty much is US30, guys. Once again, the last 5 pairs that we have on our list, I'm not really trading them, so I'm just gonna, I'll update them, but this is the last pair that we'll have explanations for. If you guys have any other questions, any other specific pairs you want me to go over, anything you guys want me to talk about, let me know in the chat. But let's do US30. So US30, again, this is a pair that I trade very cautiously. But this is also a pair that I trade compared to the Forex pairs just a little bit different, right? I treat it just a little bit different, right? Even though we're in peak high, yo, US30 is a very volatile pair. So US30, I'm trading it. In peak highs, peak lows, I'm trading it. The only difference, zones of consolidation, those will never change. If we're in a zone of consolidation, I'm treating every zone of consolidation, it doesn't matter what pair we're in, I'm trading it the same way. But peak highs and peak lows on US30, on gold, on Bitcoin, right? Even on GJ, on some occasions, I'm trading them a little differently. So US30, we know we're in peak high territory. We're in the highest point in the market. Daily time frame, we're still on an uptrend. 4-hour time frame, we're still on an uptrend. 30-minute time frame, we got a little change of character and a shoulder head shoulder. So we'll talk about that, right? On the 4-hour time frame, we had a week of rise, and then price this week gave us a no net, so we have no continuations on the 4-hour time frame. We know that on the lower time frames, now when we go down into the 30-minute, right, there is 2 things that we want to take into consideration, right? The first thing, which was the reason for our first trade of the week, which was on Tuesday, we have a shoulder head shoulder. On the shoulder head shoulder, we had the break of the shoulder head shoulder, which also gave us the change of character lower low to the bottom side. Price gave us the break, but then price decided to go back up to the highs and go back to the top of the shoulder head shoulder, top of the 30-minute highs, and it gave us the inducement. After that inducement, after the exhaustion candle, that's where the first trade of the week happened, and it went right back down to the bottom of the zone of consolidation. Wednesday, it went down to the bottom of the zone of consolidation, where again, we're consolidating between these highs and these lows, where price has rejected highs, went down, rejected highs, went down, right? Once it gave us the rejection of these highs again, it gave us a beautiful type 3 pattern on the 30-minute time frame. It gave us a beautiful change of character. It gave us a beautiful break of structure. It gave us a beautiful 1-minute engulfing candle to go back to the highs of the zone of consolidation. And then on Friday, same thing, right? That 9:30 candle, we always speak about it, right? That 9:30 candle, if you don't have no volume all day from the time the market's open until 9:30 in the morning, you know that 9:30 candle is going to be a crazy inducement. Crazy inducement happens every single time. We spoke about that specifically in the beginning of the week, right? So if you guys want to go watch the first session of the week, I believe it was on Monday or Tuesday. We spoke about it and we did a little bit of back testing. We went back and we looked at what the last 2 months of US30 on how the 9:30 candle opens, right? So Thursday was really the last day. This trade, I have to sneeze. Hold on. Oh my god. Jesus. Oh my god. All right. Thursday again, definitely a missed opportunity. I should have. Again, I was looking at the trade. I got nervous. I was looking at the correlations between these pairs, this pair, and gold and GU and how they were moving, and I did not like the correlations at all. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let price do what it has to do. I'm not comfortable taking this trade. Again, even though we had a lot of confirmations on this pair, on this entry to take this trade, just that one fucking main thing was the correlations of how the pairs are moving. I just wasn't comfortable taking the trade. I wasn't comfortable. And again, that's okay. Right? At the end of the day, the way you approach the market, the way you feel goes in, and you're going to have moments where you're not confident in certain trades. Does that mean you're just not ready? No. Does that mean that you have a lot more work to do? Right? Yes and no. Yes and no. Right? If you're on the charts and you don't feel comfortable, if you see your entry and you don't feel comfortable about the position, the worst thing you could do is take the trade anyway. Why? Because if it doesn't work, you're going to be more upset at yourself for taking a bullshit trade. And if it does work, it gives you a false sense of hope. Right? Because a lot of people, once again, just how it is being a human, most people, they'll take the trade even though they weren't confident. They'll see that price went into their take profit and they'll be like, oh, look, finally it went to TP, and then they'll close out of it. Right? Where in my case, I missed the trade, and for the last 24 hours, I've just been going back to the chart. Like, damn, why didn't I take this trade? Why did I feel this way? Right? I go down to the root of the problem. Right? And again, it's very simple. For me, it was very simple. Okay, I didn't take this trade because of how the markets have been moving. Now, yes, even though we had a lot of these confirmations, even though we know we had the inducement to the lows, even though we know we had the change of character in the break, even though we know we had the engulfing candle, right? What was price doing all of Thursday for a lot of these pairs? They were just making inducements, trapping everybody, left and right, just trapping everybody. So the understanding that, okay, I was more, and we say nervous, we were more anxious about taking this trade because of how the markets were moving previously to this entry. So I'm okay with missing the trade, right? I'm okay with letting price do what it has to do, because again, we'll come back tomorrow, we'll come back the next day, we'll come back next week, next month. The charts aren't going anywhere. We will get these entries. We will see them again. And when we see them again, we'll take them again. Right? I don't have to rush into a trade today. Right? I don't have to rush into doing anything because I know that I'll come again tomorrow. I'll come again on Wednesday, on Thursday, on Friday. We'll do it again on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. And we'll do it again the following week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Right? I don't have to rush into getting into these trades. I don't have to. Right? But I have to be present at the times that I need to be on the charts in order to catch these trades. Right? So it's pretty much it, guys. There's nothing else to talk about. Any questions, let me know. But US30 was pretty much the last pair for this session. Gold took a shit Friday, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Yeah, I mean, you know, again, pretty much like what I was just telling everybody, right? We're in a zone of consolidation. Sometimes the simplest things to do is just not trade, right? Really similar to when I went over gold, I pretty much told them is like very similar to the NU trade, where it's like, yeah, you know, there's a huge chance in a zone of consolidation that you'll get price to go straight into TP, right? And it'll go into TP, it'll go into STP, right? Like what it could have been on Wednesday, right? And instead, price made us all believe that price was gonna hit STP, it was gonna go down and fill the gap up on Wednesday. You know, all a happy family with an engulfing candle. And what happened instead? Price came back up, hit your stop loss, and then it decided to go down and hit TP, right? So again, we already know that this is the behavior of how price moves and how the markets manipulate traders, right? And we see this all the time. Again, you go on Instagram, you go on Twitter, and everybody talks about, oh, I got into a trade, it hit my stop loss, and then it went into the direction of my trade, right? If you go and you backtest those trades that people take whenever they say stuff like that, right? 90% of the time, they're either trading counter trend or they're trading in a zone of consolidation, right? And pretty much what I said before you had joined the stream is you know, that's the biggest reason why. Can you go over my trade? I did. We did go over the trades. Um, you know, that's the biggest reason, and you know that's why I brought this up because we when we went into NU as well, we spoke about that. That's why I bring it up again now. Like, you know, there will be times where you take a trade in the zone of consolidation and it goes straight into profit, and it's cool. It went straight into profit. But there'll be the next trade if you take that again the next day, something like this is gonna happen. We're like, oh, but it's the same setup. It's the exact same thing, but it worked out a little bit differently, right? So again, what I was telling them earlier was, you know, that's the reason why whenever we're in a zone of consolidation, I don't care how good that entry looks, I'm not taking the trade. I'm not taking the trade. There's just no point. There's no point in risking taking that type of trade. I would rather wait for something that's 100% gonna work out. And I know that taking trades in a zone of consolidation, it's 50-50. It's 50-50. Alright, so I don't even want to update this, man. It's just so long. It's just been so long that I haven't traded USDCAD. Last time I updated this was December 18th. I don't even want to update this pair. I'm just gonna look at the daily. We'll see where we're at, man. Yeah, we're still in the zone of consolidation, technically speaking. You know, I don't like the fact that price broke above it and then gave us a higher low point, 800 EMA, and going back up. You know, this could still be a pair where, again, yes, could we say that we're just in the first zone of consolidation on a downtrend? You know, could we say that? Yes, but technically speaking, again, we are still trading higher high, higher low, and higher high. We're technically still on an uptrend, even though price gave us a shoulder head shoulder as well, a double top. It gave us level 1, the 50 crossing below the 200. First zone of consolidation is going to be on or above the 800 EMA, and we're on it. Everything makes sense for us to say that we're just stuck in the first zone of consolidation on a downtrend on USDCAD, right? That's what I would want to say. But again, the reason I'm not really trading USDCAD right now is because at this point, I'm either going to wait for price to give us another rejection of these highs to then go short, or I'll be looking for price to continue to break above these highs to then just continue the uptrend push. But at this point with USDCAD, I'm not comfortable taking that trade. I'm not even comfortable looking at that pair right now. And then USDZAR is another one where, you know, are we still in V2 in the second zone of consolidation looking for another push to the top side, or, you know, is this a situation where I'm going to have to just update how this chart looks and say the same thing about USDZAR that we're saying with CAD, which is, did we start the downtrend push already? But it doesn't look that way, right? Just basing it on daily time frame structure, this pair just doesn't look clean. So I'm not even updating it. I'm not even trading it. This is one that I'm gonna just continue to look at and go on from there. Um, we'll come back to Bitcoin because Bitcoin is another one that I'm not really trading, and then oil. We'll keep this one updated for now. We'll have to come back to this on the 30 because that could be a no nut. We had a week of rise on the 4-hour, and then price gave us a no nut, so no continuations on the 4-hour. You know, and again, this is when we're on the lower time frame. Could we say, you know, we did mark this up? Right? We said this could be another shoulder, head, shoulder situation. And this is where we'll look for price to either give us the inducement to go back to the highs, or we'll be looking for price to give us a break to continue these downtrend pushes. So oil's another pair where right now just got to be a little bit patient, just wait it out. And then Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin is Bitcoin. During these times where a lot of countries and a lot of people are just pouring in millions and millions of dollars onto this pair, you know, it's not something I'm comfortable. As you guys could see, I haven't even updated my Bitcoin chart either in a few weeks. But we're still trading between the same previous lower low and lower high, where price decided to give us a lower low and then just move sideways, and then finally gave us the break that we wanted to see above the highs. So this is just another pair where again I'm not trading it for right now, so I haven't even updated it. And it gave us a 30-minute shoulder head shoulder. It gave us the inducement of the low, and then on the lower time frame we could see price starting to make higher highs and higher lows. So this is just another pair where we got to be a little patient with, let price do what it has to do, and then we'll come back to it once we start trending. But that's pretty much it, guys. It's pretty much it. Any questions, let me know. Any other pairs you guys want me to go over, anything you guys want me to explain again, let me know. If not, that's pretty much it for the day, and we'll be back again on Monday with the live trading session in the morning. What you got planned for the day? For right now, nothing, to be honest with you. My sister's going to Key West. I don't know what the fuck my plan is, but I'm gonna be honest. My sister's going somewhere. I don't even know if it's to Key West or if it's to Orlando. I don't remember what she said she was doing. But she's going somewhere today and tomorrow, so she's dropping off the baby here at like 1 p.m. And then that's pretty much it. I'm gonna look after the baby till my mom gets home. Hopefully he doesn't shit in his diapers, so I don't have to change diapers. I don't want to do that. And that's pretty much it, man. I don't really got no plans, man. You know how I live. Just be chilling. Nice and fast session. Thank you, Lewis. No problem, Mr. Agent. Hope you have a good rest of your day, my brother. Just leave the poop in the diaper? Nah, bro, I can't do that. I know how it is to have some poop in your diaper. Give him a little rash. He's just gonna be crying. I'll probably just hose him down, though. Turn on the hose and clean him like that. Like, yo, chill out, bro. Keep your head up, man. It's gonna be alright. Oh, we chillin', bro. We chillin', we chillin'. We is big chillin', brother. You know, there's been some advancements. There's been some, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? I'll text you. We'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna say what I want to say on stream just in case. But life is funny, bro. Life is funny. Yo, again, like I'm glad. Yo, with everything that I have going on, bro. With all this shit that I've had to listen to and go through in the last 3 weeks, brother, it is crazy, yo, crazy fucking shit. Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you. Finna go back and watch the session, I bet. Going to a comedy club tonight? Which one? Which one and why was I not invited? With Dave Chappelle, I wanna go. I wanna go watch Dave Chappelle. Damn. I got a free ticket. We gone? Yo, I'm about to book my flight right now. Fuck it. Let's go. Let's see, actually. Let me go to Hopper. Leave right now and fucking see flights, search flights. Um, fucking, let's see Fort Lauderdale. Let's see both. To JFK. Departure day today. Damn. And then fucking leave tomorrow. Let's see. Shit might be chalked, bro. I already saw it. I think the cheapest flight is gonna be like $300. $337. Nope. I thought today was Sunday. This trip felt long as shit. It's only Saturday, man. This week has felt like it's been so long. This has been good though. A lot of new experiences. Absolutely. So I love going to New York, bro. Every time I go to New York, it's a great time. Been looking at getting a warehouse style loft instead of apartment with a good view. Am I invited? Can I come over? There was a spot like that over in Orlando that I was looking at. Open floor. It's fire. Of course, always, anytime. Perfect. I love to hear that, brother. It's fire, yo, and you also have more space to work with. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of I've noticed that like I prefer having like an open style place, like just being able to walk in and you have everything in front of you. You got the kitchen, you got your bed, you got the living room, you have, you could get like a style loft one where your bed is either, there's ones that I saw that had a second floor, where like you have your bed on the second floor of it, or you have, just one wall downstairs, which is your bedroom, and then having that separate with everything else. Want to see if I could find one in Chicago. I'll invite you when I get it. But two-story warehouse style. Yeah, I love the two-story ones. Yeah, exactly like that one. All right, team. I'm gonna go finish doing my laundry, and then I'm gonna don't know what else I'm gonna do because I got like an hour before I gotta do anything else. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. Kendall, safe flight back home when you leave. Stay safe out there. Um, we'll be back on Monday, man. It's gonna come together. You just gotta keep putting in the work. Yes, sir. All right, peace out, team. We'll see y'all Monday.